The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales would like to invite everyone to their newly renovated events hall, a beautiful 9,600 square foot facility that features a 5,500 square foot main hall and a separate 600 square foot conference room. Renters have access to our huge kitchen, large stage, tables, chairs, bar, and covered outdoor cooking. So plan your next wedding, party, conference, and more at The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
You could be driving.
Honda has won more U.S. News and World Report awards than any other brand in the last decade. And now you can add another one to the list, being named the best car brand of 2022. Come get your Honda today at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Siegel Lane.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello and welcome as we start today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours in your world since the last opportunity we had to spend some time with you roughly 24 hours or so ago. We start today's show with Louisiana news and Governor John Bel Edwards yesterday holding a press conference to talk about what he knew or did not know and when he knew what he knew or did not know regarding the tragic death of Ronald Greene. I was trying to remember last night, throughout the course of his political career, if I've ever seen John Bel Edwards look that uneasy, for lack of a better word. It was for a guy who resides on the opposite side of the political aisle. It was painful to watch the governor's unease at this press conference. Governor John Bel Edwards facing increasing pressure, particularly in the wake of an AP report that he sought vigorously to discredit regarding precisely when he found out that Mr. Greene died as a result of his arrest and not as initially reported from a traffic accident, saying, quote, "This is not who I am. I wouldn't know how to go about it to ask someone to delay an investigation to gain some sort of advantage." And of course, the inference all along was he did this to gain some political advantage. Again, from a guy who resides on the opposite side of the political aisle, and there are only a handful of things that Governor John Bel Edwards and I see eye to eye on. That's just a reality. And let me add, that's okay. He is who he is. I am who I am. And thank you, God, for blessing me to live in a country where that's okay. Unfortunately for the governor, however, Ronald Greene's family came away more disheartened and more disillusioned than ever. His mother saying, quote, "What happened to Ronnie has been happening continuously. The state doesn't give a damn. It's like he turned the narrative to say, poor me, they're doubting my word. He has no integrity in his word. She went on to say, I don't trust him. I don't trust the state of Louisiana to ask anything. I would love transparency, but I hate the word transparency because there are so many levels of deceit that's been going on for generations. Now, I don't need to tell you how important this moment in time is for both Governor John Bel Edwards and the Democrat Party in Louisiana. We all know, no earth-shaking revelation, no epiphany to be had here. We all know that black folks in Louisiana are the core of the Democrat Party. And unfortunately for Democrats, with all of the animosity, divisiveness, ugliness that the media and those on the left have ginned up as of late as it regards to race, sometimes that stuff can turn around and bite you squarely in the buttocks. Let me say for the record, y'all, again, and this is from a guy who probably less than a handful of issues John Bel Edwards and I see eye to eye on. That being said, unless and until any investigation proves otherwise, I'm leaning toward taking the governor at his word. Now listen, I can hear conservatives screaming all across the state, halfway around the planet, Clarence, the man's a Democrat. How can you do that? Unless and until I am presented incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, I'm willing to let the process, quote unquote, play out. Now that being said, I will be the first to acknowledge it's not a good look, particularly when the governor was asked a question after delivering his remarks as to why the individuals involved are still on payroll. He didn't have an answer. He passed that off to state police officials. At this point, understanding why you need to hold a press conference, and politicians typically will only do this for one of two reasons, hold a press conference. Either because one, there is political hay to be made, or two, the heat is on you. That's typically the only things that they respond to. So the mere fact that he felt the need to hold the press conference means that in all likelihood, since we are dealing with an issue of race here, there are going to be some uncomfortable questions that are posed, in which case you, the holder of said press conference, you need to be ready to answer any and all questions that may come your way. Joe Biden, you could take a lesson from this, but I digress. We're going to keep an eye on how all of this works out, because again, at the end of the day, y'all, it's something that Louisiana residents should expect to happen. Transparency, faith in state institutions, particularly as it pertains to law enforcement, is something that all of us should expect, if not demand. My gut tells me, in no way, shape, or form have we heard the last of this. Now, I will be the first to admit I've been wrong about a lot of stuff in life. I don't think this is one of them. I'm just saying, y'all. Meanwhile, if you have been keeping abreast as of late regarding the weather here in Louisiana, it's that time of year, y'all. You know what's coming. the up and down roller coaster. And there's a front scheduled to come through this week, at the end of the week, where temperatures are going to plummet dramatically. So you know what that means, right? That's right. Freezing cold temps. And in Louisiana, a place where we are not all that accustomed to dealing with these things, it means an increased risk of house fires. Guys, girls, we cannot stress enough the fact that it is an essential in your home and your business to have not only a smoke detector, but a working smoke detector. State Fire Marshal Butch Browning sounding the alarm that last year we saw a horrific number of Louisiana residents lose their lives in a house fire. Something that in many of those cases, had there been a working smoke detector, some of our fellow Louisianians would be alive today. There is, spearheaded by the State Fire Marshal's Office, a program called Operation Save a Life. I want to say when the program was announced, they were providing close to 3,000 free smoke detectors for residents that needed one and for whatever reason were unable to afford one. Contact your local fire department, because at the end of the day, y'all, as you've heard me say God knows how many times, there are so many things in life that are beyond our control. Try as we might, we just can't do anything about them. This should not be one of those instances, y'all. Call your local fire department. Let them know, look, I'm concerned. I'm in financial straits right now. What do I need to do to get one? Who knows? It's one of those things where you can go your entire life and it never happens to you. But it's that one single time when it does happen. And of course, at that point, if you've not taken the necessary precautions, i.e. having a working smoke detector, all it takes is one time. That's all it takes. Word to the wise, hopefully, will be sufficient. We're going to get our first break of today's show out of the way. When we come back, you know, life is a funny thing. We see and experience on a day-to-day basis the things that shape us and affect our lives. And many times, we don't realize what's going on until after the fact. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about America's mental health and what we're dealing with. We'll talk about that after we take the first break of today's show on the Clarence Bugg Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The Mazda CX-30, named an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. Perfect for the journey ahead.
Start your journey in a new Mazda CX-30. Right here at Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, gang. Clarence Bugs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I guess I'm channeling my inner Roger Cador. Coach is one of those people that will talk to anybody, loves talking to people. And during the last commercial break, I see this wonderful lady standing at the counter picking up her order, and I just kind of strike up a conversation with her. Lo and behold, we are both Glen Oaks alums. Go Panthers. Go Panthers. Thank you so much, dear, for stopping by. We appreciate it sincerely. You never know who you're going to run into when you stop in at 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugs Show. You know, one of the things I've learned in life is how certain things can happen that in one split second, or in this case, 5 minutes, gives you a window into the soul of society. Many times, these things happen in the most innocent of places, the most unspecial places, if I can make up a word, and you find yourself going, wow. This says a lot about us and where we are at this point in time. I will be the first to admit, I've only eaten at this place once in life. And at the time, I thought, no, okay, food's pretty good, you know, understanding how many people they feed here, understanding how wide the menu is. Considering all of that, yeah, it's not bad. In case you hadn't figured out yet, I'm talking about Golden Corral. Yesterday, in of all places, the Golden Corral in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Don't know anything about the place, never been there. All I know is they have a Golden Corral there. Did you see this story? An all-out, no-holds-barred brawl. According to law enforcement, over 40 people involved. I mean, throwing chairs, tables. Yeah, right. Food fight. Good one, Marty. Good one, bruh. Literally, food fight. I mean, these folk, I was embarrassed to be a human being. I was embarrassed to be a human being. Now, get this. According to a cook that works there, that I tend to believe since he was there, the problem started because there were two guys in line. Both of them ordered steak. The guy in the back wanted his rare. The guy in front wanted his well done. Now, first of all, they should have kicked the guy in the front out of the restaurant for asking a cook to ruin a good piece of steak by cooking all the flavor out of it. But that's a different show for a different day. Guy in the back wants his rare. Guy in the front wants his well done. The guy in the back gets his first. Duh. I mean, you know, common sense here, people. It takes longer to cook a steak well done than it does to cook a steak rare. So conventional wisdom, not to mention common sense, would say the guy in the back is going to get his before the guy in the front. He obviously took some serious umbrage to the fact that dude got his before I got mine. Now, according to the cook, that's where it all started. But it was exacerbated by the fact, according to the cook, that everybody in there is wearing masks, and is the case so many times, the cook is trying to explain to dude in the front why he had to wait longer. Nobody can understand what anybody's saying, and it just, as the vernacular of the streets is saying, it jumped off from there. Yeah, right. Right. If you haven't seen the video, for a guy who makes his living with words, it's hard to describe. And as I'm watching the video, it occurs to me, this is a symptom of America's mental health and what COVID and the lockdowns and the hysteria has done to people. There are literally millions of our fellow Americans, Louisianians included, that are walking around as we speak with so much pent up anger, disillusionment, disappointment, and they at some point have to release that pressure in some form or fashion. Have you noticed lately that it doesn't take much of anything for people to go off? There's a reason for that, y'all. The human experience is such that it's like a tea kettle. At some point, enough pressure is going to build up. And if there's not a release valve somewhere at the most inopportune time and in the most inopportune place, freaking Golden Corral in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, the top's going to come off. Over 40 freaking people throwing tables, chairs, plates, cups, you name it. Now, I know, and I get it, again, in the vernacular of the streets, don't get it twisted. I ain't no Pollyanna. I understand that there are those out there that are saying, well, Clarence, I don't know. I came through COVID okay. I ain't want to jump on nobody about my steak being, a couple of seconds later than the guy in front. I don't know where you get that from. Well, I'm glad you put that out there. Because right on the heels of this dining experience, I guess we should call it. You like that one, bro? Right on the heels of this, John Hopkins comes out with the results of a study they've done. Now listen, I get it. A lot of y'all don't put much stock in medical institutions these days. A lot of y'all don't put a whole lot of stock in institutions of higher learning these days, considering some of the stuff they're teaching our kids. And you would be right in that regard. However, John Hopkins, arguably, is one of the most respected institutions out there. Typically, good or bad, right or wrong, fair or otherwise. When John Hopkins speaks, people sit up and pay attention because more times than not, they know what the heck they're talking about. John Hopkins released a report this week that said the lockdowns, the mandates, the draconian measures instituted by government in this country and all across the planet had literally no effect at all on the mortality of COVID. What it did affect immensely was our economy and, wait for it, our mental health. Golden Corral in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Starting to see a pattern here? Listen, y'all. The human experience is such that we will abide by. We will take and take and take and take. We will go along with. But at some point, y'all, when we get sick and tired of being sick and tired, the top comes off. I am firmly convinced when 40 plus people start throwing tables, chairs, plates, cups, silverware, oh wait, that's a napkin, that ain't gonna hurt anybody, give me something heavier. When you see this sort of thing happening, we have approached critical mass, y'all. Now, ironically, as we head to the commercial break, when these things happen, again, speaking of the amazing idiosyncrasies of this journey that we often call life, the pushback, the counter surge, many times will come from the most unsuspecting place possible. In this case, Canadian truck drivers. Who would have ever thought? And it's starting to sweep the globe. Let me get this bottom of the hour break out of the way. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the Freedom Convoy and what the implications are worldwide. That's next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Driver assistance technology comes standard on every Camry model as part of Toyota Safety Sense, setting the standard for safety every time you're on the road, no matter the destination. Save on your Camry today at Team Toyota, I-12 at O'Neill.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr., and I am a general dentist at Fruget Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. If you were not with us heading into the prior commercial break, you then obviously are not aware that we talked about how in life you find many times when there is something that society collectively is upset about, concerned about, dealing with. Many times it's the most unsuspecting person or entity that ends up lighting the fire that sparks the change. It is something that we've seen over and over and over again. Interestingly enough, mainstream media, and there's no other way to say it, they've gone out of their way to keep out of the public eye what is happening in Canada with the truck drivers. They are, according to some sources, up to 90% vaccinated. And yet, this convoy has now besieged Parliament Hill. Estimates are anywhere from 35 to 50,000 trucks involved. And it has now become a rallying cry for others. Now, you had to know that there was going to be some idiot person in charge, Justin Trudeau, that was going to attempt to paint these folks in an unfavorable light. Have y'all noticed something here as of late, particularly with the advent of the pandemic? The group of people, mainstream media, the left, the group of folks that preach the most about respecting everybody's rights, the group that preaches the most about diversity and inclusion, they are the ones that are the very first to demonize people that simply don't agree with them. Justin Trudeau has gone out of his way to call these ordinary, hardworking, everyday Canadians every ugly name in the book. Well, it's a fringe element with, get this, quote, unacceptable views. Now, I will be the first to admit, I don't keep up regularly with elections in Canada, but I don't remember there being a situation where the Grand Poobah, the Grand Canadian Poobah, in charge of what people can and cannot think, died, and before they could have an election, they just decided, hey, let's give that to Justin Trudeau. He'd be good about that. These groups, according to him, are a fringe element with unacceptable views. Who the, you insert the bleep here, does this clown think he is? Well, you have unacceptable views. Newsflash, sir. In freedom-loving countries, that's what we pride ourselves on, having our own view and being able to express it when we want to. Some great fans, great folks in to get some great barbecue, in case y'all were wondering, who is he speaking to? Is that Marty? No, just a couple of great guys coming in to get some good barbecue. It never ceases to amaze how individuals who were elected by a group of people, individuals who swore an oath to uphold the laws and the dignity of the people who elected them, how these very same people can turn around at the drop of a hat and want, on the left, to demonize you and control every aspect of your life for no other reason than, I don't agree with what you said. Now, Mr. Trudeau, I know for a fact you could give less than a fill in the blank here about what a 60-plus-year-old black conservative in Baton freaking Rouge, Louisiana, cares about you. I get it. I understand. I don't care what you think either, so we even. See how that works? That street runs both ways. I get it. But what you are doing is giving me, the rest of your fellow Canadians, and others around the world who are now linking arms in solidarity and joining this movement in Canada, it gives us the freedom to say, you know what? When it all comes crashing down around your feet, you will have nobody to blame but your little old lonesome. This movement, y'all, is picking up steam all across the globe. Now, CNN, LOL, which, by the way, y'all did hear Zucker resign from CNN this morning. Couldn't have happened to a nicer bunch of folk, but I digress. MSLSD, ABC, NBC, CBS, they're going out of their way to hide this from y'all. And at some point, you have to ask yourself, why are they doing this? Why? Because they don't want you to know. Well, they are who they are and they do what they do. We all get that. We all get that. We conservatives, we are who we are. We do what we do. Them liberals, modest people, they are who they are and they do what they do. But now at the end of the day, you will not be able to say that you didn't know. Because Canadians now are standing up and telling those they elected to serve them that we've had enough. You know, if I were to go scriptural on you, what would come to mind is God works in mysterious ways. It is painful yet refreshing to see that Canadians are doing what I would have expected Americans to do before anybody else. I mean, after all, we are the beneficiaries living in this country of arguably the greatest freedoms and liberties ever bestowed upon a population in the history of our species. So when these things are threatened, I would expect Americans before anybody else to stand up for them. Now, as painful as that is to think that Canadians did it before we did, it's also refreshing because it says to me that those of us in this country that cherish freedom and liberty, we're not alone. Now, it also occurred to me, the media going out of their way to keep this out of the public eye is due in large part that they want you to think you're on the wrong side. They want you to think, oh, well, you're the only one that thinks that way. They want you to think, Justin Trudeau, oh, it's a fringe element with, quote, unacceptable views. How, as an individual, freely elected, the beneficiary of freedoms and liberties, how do you even fix your lips to utter a fringe element with unacceptable views? Good question, bro. Good question. When it all comes crashing down around him, he will have absolutely, hands down, no question about it, no one to blame but himself. God bless you, Canada. We're rooting for you, buddy. And word has it, Australia, they're in line. They're cranking theirs up too. Denmark, they're in line. The truckers warming them up as we speak. And in this country, it's happening too. I might just end up, before all is said and done, having to learn the words to old Canada. Way to go, y'all. Love you for that. Love you much. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done. When we come back to wrap up today's show, I'm going to talk a little bit about your money and some folks that want to make sure you get it. That's in the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales would like to invite everyone to their newly renovated events hall, a beautiful 9,600 square foot facility that features a 5,500 square foot main hall and a separate 600 square foot conference room. Renters have access to our huge kitchen, large stage, tables, chairs, bar, and covered outdoor cooking. So plan your next wedding, party, conference, and more at The Post on Church Point Road, Gonzales.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Question. How many of y'all could use some extra money right about now? Everybody in his hand just did like that. Except for Marty, he put up both hands and one foot. Another question. How many of you could use some extra money that's actually your own money? Whoop, there goes the other foot. You just fell off the bar stool trying to put up both hands and both feet. Look like a turtle. Exactly. Well, State Treasurer John Schroeder yesterday, and believe it or not, Governor John Bel Edwards is not the only one that had a press conference yesterday. The State Treasurer holding a press conference to announce the launch of a new campaign to make you guys and girls, my fellow Louisianians, aware of money that the state is holding that belongs to you. Treasurer Schroeder, joined by the Unclaimed Property Division, unveiled the new Louisiana Cash Claim campaign, which, by the way, includes a brand new website. If you're at work today, or if you are in a home setting and there are 6 people in your immediate vicinity, the state treasurer estimates 1 out of the 6 people that you're around, they got some money for you. Those are not bad odds, y'all. 1 out of 6, try that with the lottery and see how far you get. I'm just kidding. Great folks at the lottery. I love them. Rose, love you like a sister. But 1 out of 6 means it's a whole lot of y'all watching right now that have some money that the state wants to give you, and it's already your money. Now, maybe you like Kevin Gallagher. I don't know. You big money baller. You don't really need it. Kev's like, yeah, that's it. maybe you like KG. You big money baller. You know, that $200, $300, $500, that ain't no big deal. State, y'all can keep it, you know. But if you're like me, show me my money. In the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of ungodly inflation, thanks, Joe, in the midst of all the uncertainty right now, y'all, there is no excuse at all for you letting someone keep your money that wants desperately to put it back in your hands. Again, you know, unless you big money baller, well, get your money, y'all. Please. All you need to do is go to the state treasurer's website, and I'm sure they will direct you to the brand new website so that you can claim the cash that belongs to you. Many of you have no idea the state has money. It might be a past tax return. It might be a closed bank account. It might be a security deposit on an old apartment. It might be a security deposit on a utility connection. Any number of things. Could be from an inheritance that you never knew about. You thought old Uncle Joe didn't really care for you the whole lot as a child, but come to find out, in his will, he left you some money. Let me put it to you this way. What do you have to lose other than your money? Some of y'all not going to get that till later, but that's okay, as long as you get it. Don't forget, guys and girls, speaking of things that you need to be sure you, quote, get it, temperatures are going to plunge at the end of the week. When this next front, warm front, comes through, we are looking at probably, and don't count this as gospel, I'm trying to remember what I saw for the long-term forecast walking out of the door to come and do the show this morning. But we're probably looking at 4 to 6 nights in a row of close to or below freezing temperatures. And you know what that means. We're going to be scrambling, many of us, trying to figure out ways to heat our homes and our businesses and stay warm. That's just a part of being a human. Not to mention a part of being a Louisianian, we don't particularly gravitate toward being cold. That is what that is. But when all is said and done, it is the least among us that we have to look out for. And while, as always, we encourage you to check on your neighbors, check on the elderly in your community, to be sure that they're okay, that they're warm and safe, you also have that same obligation in your household. And this time of year, it happens far too frequently, y'all. Just this week, as a matter of fact, and please forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think fortunately in this instance, there were no fatalities involved. But just this week, a dryer fire left a family homeless in an apartment complex after a fire started in the apartment. Now, it says a lot that I have to say this, but it is what it is. While you're at it, be sure that you go through the house and check the things that could potentially lead to a fire. It's bad enough to be the victim of a fire. It's bad enough to find yourself in a situation that's dealing with life or death. It's bad enough to lose everything you own. But to do it in the dead of winter just, compounds the misery. So that being said, contact your local fire department. If by chance Operation Save a Life has already distributed that 2,700 free smoke detectors to Louisiana residents, in all likelihood, they can refer you to some agency that can help you in that regard. It is my sincerest hope, y'all, that we get through this next cold snap and we will not have to report any loss of life in that regard. Oh, and speaking of which, today, happy Groundhog Day to you. Puxatawny Phil today, reportedly, allegedly, telling us 6 more weeks of winter, y'all. Now, let me hasten to add, over the last decade or so, Puxatawny Phil's been wrong 60% of the time. Take that for what you will. I am in no way, shape, or form an individual that is here to question the authenticity or the accuracy of Puxatawny Phil. I'll leave that to brighter minds than mine, like Marty or Kevin Gallagher. Let them figure that out. But as it stands right now, 6 more weeks of cold weather. Word to the wise, y'all, is supposed to be sufficient. Now, if you are in the mood for some really good people, if you're in the mood for a really good atmosphere, if you're in the mood for some really good barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Old school barbecue, home of the Clarence Bud Show. And on top of all of that, you never know who you're going to see when you walk through the door. Got a group of law enforcement professionals in the house today. So awesome to see them. And you know, you can tell a lot about a business by watching customers. There's a group of guys that floor producer extraordinaire Marty made the comment just this morning, off air and off to the side. Really good crowd today. Then he said, I guess I have to understand people don't eat barbecue every day. And then he said, except for those guys at the bar. Those brothers are here like every single day. Every now and then they'll miss a day, but they make up for it when they come back the next day. It's that good, y'all. Come on by for some great conversation. Come on by, be served by some wonderful people. And come on by and get your grub on as far as barbecue. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Old school barbecue, the home. I guess I can no longer say just the home of the Clarence Bug Show. It's also the home of the Fletch Nation podcast. It's also the home of the Roger Cador Show. It's also the home of Rocket Right Radio with Dr. K. Solar and Betsy Barnes, Marty's favorite show. You know, you never know who you're going to see. Oh, and Tiger's Roar. That's right. That's right. Buddy Sanjay, Mr. Spicy, and one of the brightest, most talented, up-and-coming sports broadcasters, not just in Baton Rouge, not just in the state of Louisiana, but across the country. Jonathan Poche. Mark my words. One of these days, you're going to turn to your kids, your spouse, the person that's over having a cold one with you, and you're watching a national sports report, and you'll be able to say, hey, I remember that guy. I used to see him over at Old School Barbecue. Never know who you're going to see. Time's up, y'all, and I got to go. But this day, maybe more so than any other in history, I give it to you. You know what? You're right. America, we ain't perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize by now that he loves you, right? Then again, it really doesn't matter, because there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Make your deal. Take care of yourselves. Let's take care of each other. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.